are 572-0383 and 572-0215. Rev-Up St. Lucia, the alpha of radio.
Welcome to Meet the Minister, your inside look at government in action. Tune in every Friday at 10 a.m. on Rev-Up St. Lucia 97.1 FM for Meet the Minister, a powerful 60-minute conversation with a minister from the SLP government hosted by Jerry Fenelon. Get first-hand insights into the government's policies, programs, and progress as we discuss the issues that matter to you. Stay informed, stay engaged. That's Meet the Minister with Jerry Fenelon, Fridays at 10 a.m. only on Rev-Up St. Lucia 97.1 FM.
Sorry for the break in continuity. This is Rev-Up St. Lucia. Stand by now for Meet the Minister. And let's say good morning and welcome to the host of Meet the Minister, Terence Fenelon. Mr. Fenelon, very good morning to you. Good to see you again.
Good morning, Andre. Good morning, listeners, viewers, wherever you are, and all the platforms. Apologize for the late start. I'm blaming Andre. I'm not saying this is his fault, but I'm just blaming him. Actually, the minister is running a little late. It's cabinet today. You have to stop. Once you stop in your constituency, you're going to run into problems. And the traffic, I know, is a nightmare.
So
that's why.
Make
the back road, yes. You know the back roads?
Oh, yes. I used to work in Forest.
For a while, so you know the back roads very well. So it's good. So at least you made it. So forgive us, although I'm blaming Andre. It's not his fault, but I'm blaming him.
Is that right? I get it all the time.
So it's nice to be here. Andre, anything I did to respond? I did not listen to you this morning. Normally I kick off my program rebutting some of the stuff I hear on the.
No, I think the callers were hard on the opposition this morning.
Oh, they have to be, man.
Yeah, they were hard on the opposition. They were hard.
I'm very hard, and that's the program I missed. Oh my word! I want to tell United Park that I'm coming again. I see they responded to my take on. Don't do that. You have to learn to ignore Fenelon and let him be. Otherwise you take me on, I'll release more. So be careful. Don't do that. This morning it's my pleasure to have with us Honorable Alfred Prosper, alias Stabat. Bon, avant aller pièce côté, dis Stabat ça.
Stabat. Let me say a pleasant good morning, and it's a pleasure to be here today.
Right.
It is always an opportunity that I cherish when I have to speak to the public on agriculture.
Right.
And I'm sure we all know the importance of agriculture to any country. And that term, food security, is commonly used. Now we are in food sovereignty. So I'm always happy to, speak on matters related to agriculture, because even now with the imposition of the 10% tariff, agriculture has, been under scrutiny.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to speak on some of the measures that we are putting in place as a ministry, as a government, to deal with this problem. Because we know a lot of our inputs, seeds, fertilizer, chemicals come from the US.
But and before we go there, let's tell the people about
so excited.
you. I know. But just tell the people about you, because sometimes the people they just know you as a politician. Just let them know who you are, because people think sometimes politicians are not human. We take all kind of pot shots at them. We say all manner of things. We drag their name in them. Starbatch came from?
Starbatch came from one day when I went on a fishing expedition. My first time going to fish.
By the way, is this something you can spell? S-T-A-R...
S-T-A-R-B-A-T-C-H.
Right.
Starbatch.
So when I went out there, within half an hour, I started feeling sick. While the other guys were fishing, I started feeling sick, then I started feeling sick. And then I just ended up falling right down in the bottom of the boat. Sick. So at that time, there was this game going on in Denver. I used to play that game with the cap of the soft drink, Ziggy,
Okay.
Zogo, and Starbucks is when it goes into the hole. So that is how I got. So because I end up falling asleep right there in the bottom of the boat.
And the boat in the hole.
So they say Ziggy Zogo Starbucks. And that is just how simple I got.
Oh, you said.
And that was when I was about 12 years or so.
old.
Yeah,
So,
long
and
time.
that's stayed with you.
So if you go to Denver and you ask for Prosper, they will ask you who's Prosper. But the
Right.
moment you say Starbucks, I'm the only person with this name in St. Lucia, probably in the world.
Starbucks. and then look at that, a fishing expedition.
A fishing expedition.
I almost lost your life there.
Yes,
I could have been.
you know,
Yeah.
because that time it was the canoe boat.
Right.
So the boat used to rock and it used to get you sick. You want to feel like you want to vomit and so on. But I didn't vomit. I ended up just falling as I'm right there
In the hole.
in the bottom of the boat,
And
and that's how I got that name.
all right. Well, you see, people. He's a human being. You know, these are things we ought to know. You know, I mean, about
Yes.
our ministers, because they're human just like us. You know,
Oh, yes, oh,
they
yes.
go fishing. So you're an avid fisherman.
Yeah, no, not. Sometimes I will go. I used to wash fishing boats, you know.
Dive and clean
Yeah,
them and
dive, going out there and look for whales and
things like that.
Sometimes when the boats, my sister, my brother-in-law had a boat. When I would leave school at 3, I would rush to the beach. 'Cause that's how I would make a little $5-10 by washing the boats.
Okay.
You know? So the Starbucks you see there is not a person that came from
That's
whatever.
right.
That's a man who struggled.
From the people.
Yeah, from the people. That's a man who
From
was
the
involved in every single committee
Yeah.
or grouping in Denry Village Council, Denry Disaster Committee, All Blacks Veterans, Friends of Denry Hospital. You just name it.
So you have earned your stripes.
Oh yes.
And you had boy
No one
days.
can doubt. Oh yes, my boy days going and look for Mami apple and guava in the Tualo area.
Right.
All of that. Going and play football on the beach and going to the island to roast my breadfruit and so on. I was in it and I've been there and I'm
You have
still
done
there.
that. So you're a man of the people.
Yes, yes,
So you can
yes.
identify with your
That's
people
right.
in Denry.
That's
So
right.
you have that connection
That
with
connection
the
is there.
community. That's
And
not
will always
it's been
remain.
made there. Yeah. And you move about quietly, unassuming.
That's
You
right.
know, if people see you, some people see you and they don't know that you're a minister of government. You know,
Yeah, a lot of
just
people-
because
I still try to be where I've always been. I will never allow this position to change me
Right.
because I came into it to help people,
help people,
to change lives.
Right.
How do you keep yourself on the straight and narrow? Because so many politicians have fallen prey to pride and so on. How do you keep yourself
Because
grounded?
you see, if you know my role in forestry, I was a forestry person. I was always a bushman, going to the forest, going to plant trees, going to protect the forest from marijuana cultivation. I was always that kind of person who was dirty in a sense that my job was not an office
First job, yes.
It was
You
more
were
or
on the
less
field.
going in there, supervising work and making sure we prevent encroachment in the forest reserve, patrolling the forest reserve. So I would go in and I would come out sometimes I'm wet, soaked up, dirty. I have to go home to rest.
Right.
But I came from a poor family. I remember the struggles my parents went through with me. They were banana farmers. I had to leave every day they were harvesting, leave school to go into banana and to carry the bananas, the boxes and so on. Then I decided to go to Union. I said I need to help my parents. I went to Union right across there.
Right.
I studied agriculture for 2 years. And that's how I joined forestry in 1986 October. I worked there for 34 years. I became the chief forestry officer in 2018.
You took over from Michael Joseph?
No. Adams Toussaint.
Adam Toussaint.
And I left in June of 2020. When I left, my plan was to go into my farming because I love agriculture. Because I have my farm and all that. And then the people said, that's your time. I went in. A lot of people did not expect it to happen, but I knew it was going to happen.
You knew from what? When did you make that leap? Yeah.
Yes, from my involvement in the community, I knew anytime one would be going into his fourth term, he would not be as popular as someone who's coming in his first term, who has been so popular in the community and has done so much in this community. So I knew it was.
So let me ask you, your time in forestry and agriculture, I mean, you gained experience. So are you saying that readied you? There are a lot of people who don't like that word. When the Prime Minister, he's the most ready, the most prepared. So are you saying that prepared you, that readied you for your present role?
Yeah, present role. And the ministry is critical, but a lot of the experienced persons in the ministry have retired. What we are getting now is a number of people coming in with CXCs and so on, but the actual technical capacity,
institutional memory,
it's not there. So that is why it is critical that I'm there, because a lot of the decision that we have to take, the minister is the one who has to table it in cabinet and defend it in cabinet. I am happy that I had that knowledge, not just in forestry and agriculture, but in conservation, in a range of international organizations like the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, the Partnership for Sustainable Development, and so on. All of these other small conventions, biodiversity, FAO, and so on. I have a very good understanding.
So, but let me ask you, you said a lot of people are retired, the institutional memory.
Yeah.
Are you all in the ministry? Because you see, sometimes people retire with a lot of expertise and we just put them out of pasture. Are you drawing on their expertise? Is the ministry making use of those people to assist us?
I don't think enough is being done to make that happen. And this is why recently I spoke to my PS and I told him, but we have a lot of those guys who have left us. They are still there. Some of them are at home. Some of them are, have gained other forms of employment. But why don't we find a way to bring them together to recognize them? And they agreed, and so sometime in October, as part of World Food Day, we are going to have a special day where we are going to bring those guys in to thank them. I want to be the one to be saying to them, thank you for what you've done. We still need you. Because things are changing. No one knew or expected this term, climate change. That was something that never existed when I was doing my studies, when I was in forestry. But it's a serious problem that is impacting not agriculture, but a number of other areas. But agriculture, if we're familiar with what's happening in the last few years, every year you have natural disasters impacting the sector in a very negative way. And in doing that, it is discouraging farmers who want to continue, because number one, the farmer decides to invest in, let's say, an acre of watermelons. He takes his loan, he invests, gets his labor and everything. But just when he's ready to harvest, a hurricane comes but he has nowhere to go to. Nowhere to say, I'm expecting some level of compensation from my insurance company and so on.
So let's segue. I'm jumping the gun, but since you already hit this note, the crop insurance for the farmers that was just articulated. Just tell us about it, so, because you're highlighting one of the obstacles, the challenges.
So the government gave to the ministry, allocated 1 million EC dollars to the Ministry of Agriculture. Last year it was 600. We said it was not enough. The Prime Minister added another 400,000. So we have $1 million, and we engage a insurance company called Grace Kennedy. But with 1 million EC dollars, that will not provide insurance for the entire agricultural sector. You have the fishers, you have the agro-processors, you have the livestock farmers, you have the crop farmers, you have banana farmers, plantain farmers. But because we know the banana and plantain farmers are the ones most vulnerable, any strong winds you have, the banana and plantain farmers would suffer the most. So we've decided to start off with the banana and plantain farmers. So the insurance, we finalize all the details and the terms, and we're just waiting for launch. But we know, I can speak as Minister of Agriculture and say, effective the 15th of May, our banana and plantain farmers are insured. There is some level of insurance mechanism that is in place. So in the event there is a natural disaster this year, this hurricane season, they will not have to depend on the government for assistance. They will get compensated directly from the insurance.
Because I noticed the Prime Minister has been very, very swift to move to compensate farmers, especially when they had the box issue,
and the black cigarette
problem. I mean, you could see he came quickly to their assistance. And that's a good use of taxpayers' money.
But it's not sustainable.
Correct.
We cannot have a government doing that all the time. We want the farmers to be part of it. I want them to understand how important it is for them.
So they're actually contributing themselves?
Not yet. That is what we want to start, to have them contribute. So when they sell to marketing board, or they sell to Marcy, or they sell to the hotel, say 5 cents per pound of the sales can go to that. So we can expand it, and we can provide greater coverage. So even me, when I'm going through my, sometimes rest, and then I have to think, boy, I hope we don't get any hurricane.
Okay, the strong winds or whatever.
Problem,
Right.
when you have to be, facing that, and the farmers are making the call, what help you giving, when are you going to provide the support, and so on. It is not an easy thing for a minister during that time. But if I know the insurance coverage for insurance mechanism is in place, then I'll feel a lot better. Not that I'm saying when there is insurance, I will have.
Yes.
But I'm just saying I will feel better that the government does not have to take the taxpayers' resources to always. compensate the
So
farmers.
you're saying as of the 15th of May, that's we're almost 1 month now that they are covered.
Covered.
So
if anything happens now, they covered because that has been established. We were supposed to have the launch last month, the 20th, but because the Prime Minister was not in, we had to postpone.
Right.
The Prime Minister is very keen on making that happen, and we are trying our best to have it happen, if not before the end of this month. Very early next month.
Just clarify something for me, please. You said that the government made $1 million available, right?
To begin an insurance mechanism for.
Right. So
farmers.
Is that if anything goes wrong, will the farmers be able to draw on those monies, or is it that it's a private insurance company? How does it work?
No, it's a private insurance company,
Mm-hmm.
but the arrangement that is in place is that banana and plantain farmers, if affected by any natural disaster in the next few days, weeks, or months, will be benefiting from that insurance company. So whatever calculations that they derive or they come up with, the arrangement is they will say to the government of St. Lucia, as a result of tropical storm, whatever, it can be Prosper, we are making available to your banana and plantain farmers, let's say $3 million EC dollars.
Right.
So we as a government will work it out.
So in other words, the $1 million is like the government paying the installments and premiums for them.
That's right.
So that when that happens now, that source is there.
Yes.
So the money has not come from their pocket; it has come from the
government directly.
Well, that's the government, the taxpayers. And then so that some, because we're talking about food security and we're trying to feed ourselves and to make it easier for
you.
Yeah.
You want, when something like that happens, and a lot of farmers are very resilient. There is a natural disaster today, and the next day you see them on the farm cutting the bananas and doing their thing. We want to be able to encourage the farmers soon after a natural disaster to continue their work, because if not, we're going to have a gap, and the supermarket shelves are going to be empty because farmers may not have the financial support to get the labor support they need to get the planting
to get back on the feet.
So the quicker you get that kind of support to them, the better for us.
Well, let's talk about more of government support to the farmers, because I heard some fellas talking about lack of oil. Let's talk about what it is.
The government,
to support
this
the
government, I can't remember which government or Minister of Agriculture that provided that level of support ever to our farmers. We started a World Bank Food and Insecurity Program in November 2023. And we spent $10 million EC dollars in the agricultural sector. We provided 39,000 bags of fertilizer.
39,000 bags.
34,000 bags of lime.
That's free to the farmers. Free to the farmers. They do not have to pay a cent.
Nothing. We gave 115 laborers support to farmers, where they covered approximately 300 and something acres in terms of provision of labor support to farmers. That is a challenging problem, a serious challenge in the sector. Our farmers are complaining that they are not getting persons to work on the farm. I remember talking to Rambali, who has over 10 acres of farmlands in Soufred, Irash, and every week, every month he calls me and he's thinking of leaving because he's not getting the workers. He has 2 workers, he needs like 15, and so we saw the need for us to do that, and we provided that support to them. In this new budget, 25-26, the government has allocated $600,000 for farm labor, and we are hoping to start on the 1st of July to provide support to farmers.
So are you getting, based on the support for the workers,
yes,
have you been able to fill a quota to supply the farmers who need the workers?
Well, to answer your question, it was a World Bank program, I was not happy with how it was done.
Okay.
But there are rules that you have to
follow.
abide by. What I would like to see happen is to target the large farmers like Cox, like Rambali, those large farmers who are struggling with workers. Encourage them to hire the workers because they would have known those workers who are already employed with them or that they have been employed in the past. Give them a quota, pay them that sum of money, whether it's fortnightly or monthly or weekly, to pay the workers because they already understand the workers. They already may have known the skills, the skill set of those workers, and they are accustomed to those workers. But bringing in new workers that did not know, they do not trust on their farms, whether it's they may be, taking their produce unknown to them and so on. That was a problem that we had with the last labor program, farm labor program. We are hoping that it can change this time, and we are hoping that it can be part of our food production strategy and action plan that we just prepared as a ministry, presented to cabinet on Monday and was approved Monday past.
The strategic
where we
plan.
are going to look at short, medium, and long-term interventions to increase our food production. Our food import bill is extremely high.
Too high, yeah.
And what hurts is the foods that we import can be grown locally. So we have to be able to target farmers, provide them with the support, whether it's site preparation, whether it's planting material, inputs, etc. Work with them closely so we can increase the production of those commodities that we think can be produced here. And that's why we have this 7 crops program by the Taiwanese. They established a 5-year program with us starting from 2022, where they've given us $10 million that we are going to use to target 7 specific crops like cabbage, tomato, lettuce, sweet pepper, watermelon, cantaloupe. These are the 7 that we are targeting, but we are adding more to the list every year.
Yes.
Because we want to ensure that we reduce imports of those products.
We must be able to feed
It hurts me to
ourselves.
see I go to Marcy, and I'm not trying to bash Marcy. You see watermelons at Marcy coming from Canada and the US. But when I drive to Viewfort, I see Prana, Miku, Monrepo. Our farmers are struggling to sell the same watermelon.
So
nobody's saying
why is that?
Because
why?
One, at a time when the production is high, Marcy cannot absorb everything from the farmers.
But
Marcy would absorb,
but
Marcy would pay them a much lower price than what they would get on the roadside.
Yeah.
But it hurts when you see they are struggling to sell, and then Marcy and CPG and these others.
Well, we must have some kind of legislation to correct that.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you have to be Sometimes you have to be able to respond.
So what I think should happen,
or something else.
What I think should happen, and I've been saying that, if we can collect the right data from the fields, we should be in a position to say to CPG that between now and the next 3 months, our data shows that we have sufficient watermelons or cabbage or tomatoes locally. So we want to encourage our farmers to sell. We are reducing on the imports of your requests because they would come and say, I need X, and we are the ones issuing the permits. So I've been telling my staff, we need to be able to say to them one day that this month we do not need to import. But we cannot do it if we don't have the data to support it. Because you don't want to take a decision to say no importation of watermelons for the month of May, but then the hotels are saying they cannot get.
So you need to employ people to do stats and to be on the field.
And that is
so you're saying at this present time that data is not being collected.
That data is not.
So there's a gap.
Yes. So that is what we're working on. It is what we call the iFarm app. It's an app where the extension officer goes to the field and can capture the information, takes it to the statistical unit, and for somebody to say, this is where we are, and this is why we should take that decision.
Well, Minister, it's not somebody to say. It's for you to
well, I know
to
the
make the
minister
case
gets
to
the blame and, and so
it's
on,
for you
but
to
it's
make the
something
case
that
to
we
have an officer or whoever
been working
station
on that has not worked.
You have to do
very
it.
well
Somebody
for us.
who
But-
knows some stats and who can
Yes,
can
but
compile that. And
I'm saying that to say that we must encourage our
Encourage, yes.
farmers to remain in the sector, but they will only remain if they are making a profit. Now, the good thing for us is that marketing board is back to
yes.
where I wanted it to be.
all right.
We were struggling in the past, not being able to pay the farmers after 3-4 months because we didn't have the funds. But the government supported a loan through the, what's the name of this banker? SLDB.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've given them we've received the box pack, the what do you call it? The thing by the market. I keep forgetting the name. Sorry. We just opened it.
Yes. Anchorage. Anchorage.
So that is now under the management of the marketing board. So
yes.
the rent and all of that helps
Those,
marketing board. Marketing board is now importing, commodities like onion and garlic and so on. So we are really increasing our revenue, and we are now able to pay the farmers within 7 days of the produce. So that is very encouraging. Now we can expand our contracts, increase our number of farmers in terms of contracts, so we can ensure that we have a reliable supply from them.
Yeah.
But when Marcy pays in 3 days, Marcy is giving loans, and the marketing board is taking 3-4 months.
Right.
Obviously, farmers will not sell.
Yes, that's right. Now let me ask you. Recently, the government opened 4 new schools, TVET schools.
Yes.
And I could tell you, all of them they have agriculture as a
Sustainable agriculture.
sustainable. I mean, could you all form a link, some kind of working relationship with them? Because there are a lot of students who I have observed who are interested in that field.
Yes.
When you go to PI or AG,
Yes.
and you could see them at Granivier, the one at Granivier, and you could see that the students are interested. I mean, what kind of linkages? Because you're talking about a dearth of people coming to work on the field.
That's right.
And there you have, I think, a ready-made. Well, okay, not ready-made, but you have students who are ready. They're learning it in there, and who might be ready to come in and to be absorbed in the thing. Right. So what connections can you make? And
so I'm very happy because when Honorable Minister for Education presented this at Cabinet, I was very happy because I was concerned about the level of interest coming from our young people in agriculture.
Right.
We have an agricultural sector, we have an aging farmer population. A lot of the farmers are in their 60s and 65 and 70s. But we're not seeing an entrance or an entry of the young ones coming in. Now, the young ones are not coming and do the same things that their fathers or their parents were doing. That is where we have to come with the new technology and innovation to encourage them. I just came from a meeting last week where we had the first OECS meeting with ICA and a study tour where we had 4 young persons in agriculture from 9 of the OECS countries. And they came and they questioned and they expressed their concerns in agriculture, what we're supposed to do as ministers, as government. And they really challenged us. But 2 of the things that came out were access to finance and access to land. That is a big issue, not just in St. Lucia, but in all of the OECS countries. But to just go back to your question, I want to see the entry of those persons, young persons coming in, for us to be able to give them the support. But what is important for us is the new technologies, use of the drones for spraying, use of the tillers, because you don't want to see young people take a garden fork and those new technologies where they can just sit there. Just imagine you have a drone, you put your chemicals in there, you sit there, you just program it, and it goes and does this thing for you. It comes back right there. I mean, these young people will be excited
to that.
Now, the Prime Minister actually paid for me to go to Guyana to see some agricultural innovation projects that have been taking place in Guyana. And I went there, I saw a number of shade houses, what they call shade agriculture, the greenhouses and so on. And they're actually growing leafy vegetables where the students, the young people can actually go there, spend 6 weeks, get the training. From there, they can go in and start their own agricultural program. The government of Guyana made available 2 greenhouses for us, hydroponics systems.
For us in solution.
They actually came down and set it up. And right now, as you speak, if you go there, you can see leafy vegetables already growing at Union by the Tissue Culture Lab. What we want to do is to use that opportunity for the young people, those who are doing the SBAs and the agriculture project, to actually come there, spend a few weeks or months, work with us, get the knowledge, so they can go back and they can say, from what I learned at Union in terms of hydroponics, I can set up my own system in my backyard. I can encourage my friends and other students to do the same. But what it's going to do is to actually create an opportunity for them to be trained in that area. We are going to actually expand it to add more, but we also want to create a facility at Union that they can come in and look at the tree crops, they can do the hydroponics, they can do the fish fingerlings and so on. All of those things that the propagating of the tree crops, they can get the training from the Taiwanese in terms of so many aspects of agriculture. So I want it to be more or less, I see it as a place, that's my vision, to convert it into a learning facility for agriculture, for young men and women to actually spend time there.
Interesting you mentioned Ghana. Ghana, when you read, is one of the few countries in the world that can feed itself.
Oh yes.
I mean, I know they have the land
space. I went to school there, I spent 2 years there.
So they have the land space and they are able to feed themselves.
Well, and they can feed themselves.
So I mean, it might also be a good thing to these young students at the TVET schools. I mean, if you could arrange at least study tour.
Yes.
It's just not, they'll go to Union, which is there, etc. But when they go overseas and they see how things are done, maybe that can motivate them. And
there's actually an institution in Guyana where they can do the diploma in agriculture and the degree in agriculture. I did the degree in forestry there.
Right. So
I had a discussion with the CARICOM head, because the Minister of Agriculture for Guyana, he's the chair of CARICOM, the Minister of Agriculture in CARICOM. And he has agreed for us to do an exchange, get some of the persons in Ghana to come and see what's happening there, but to also have some of our young people go there as well.
Yeah.
The problem we have now is availability of funding for training.
Yes.
So we just came from Costa Rica there, and there's an area called CATI where they're doing some short-term training in climate change, agroforestry, biodiversity, and they've agreed to give some support to
maybe in cabinet it might be necessary to press upon your ministers, especially the Minister of Education. I mean, you have the one graduate per household. I mean the priority area is agriculture, food security. And so, I mean, a lot of people, when you look at some of them, a lot of them are doing business, management and stuff. I mean, I have nothing against that. I mean, what you're going to manage, etc. But I think if the emphasis to give priority to those TVET students who are doing this kind of, because the future is really and truly TVET.
It is.
It's TVET, agriculture and stuff. So, in terms of pushing the one graduate per household, we might have to have a bias. Sometimes you have to say, let's pause a little there. Everybody wants to do business management. Everybody wants to do econ. So no, let's make it a priority that at least if we're giving 100 scholarships for the year, let's ensure that we have 60, 70 students. We're giving priority to do agriculture. That's why we have STEM and we want agriculture, because that is a priority. And as you correctly said, with the tariffs now,
it's going to be
when we importing these things, we're going to be increase
automatically.
Yes,
because if you are going to pay $100 for a bag of fertilizer or a packet of seeds, you will not sell your plantain or your
for next to nothing, and like Andrea, I like my green figs, I like my green fig one pot with my jelco show and thing like that, my pigtail. So what about fishing now? The fisher folk. What are you doing for the fisher folk?
Well, the fisher folk, a lot is being done for them.
Yes, well, let's say
because under that program, we've procured 10 new ice machines.
10 ice machines.
You would recall the closure of Lucian in November of 2021. There were a lot of challenges there with the asbestos roof and the electricals. There was a problem with payment of utilities. There was, a sum of over $1 million.
Yes, I saw that
for electricity, and there was an agreement where it was the facility in Fisheries, the one in Denrisau, and the one in Vieux-Fort. So all three of these fishing facilities were part of the agreement. When we came in, we said we cannot have to manage all three. So we removed the one in Vieux-Fort, the one in Denry, and we kept the one in Fisheries. the government made available a load of $2 million for repairs, upgrades, and to pay outstanding bills and so on. And from what I heard, that there's still some issues that need to be dealt with, but we are hoping that we can see a full reopening of the facility very soon, because that is the responsibility of the government to ensure that a market is available for our fishers.
So when they come, they can sell the fish.
Yes. Now we've given our fishers a number of fisheries aggregated device, what they call FADs.
FADs, yeah.
We still have $1 million under the program to produce more FADs to those fishers. We had a training, what they call boat masters training, free to the fishers. 100 fishers were trained. Boat masters training in terms of the things to do and what not to do, etc. We procured 10 ice machines for the various landing facilities. So then we have one library, all of the landing. Yes, Choiseul, Soufrière. They are now preparing the place to receive those facilities. We gave all the fisheries cooperatives what they call those bins. Yeah, those ice bins. For storage of fish and for ice, because fish is very important, and it has to be kept frozen, or whatever it is, so that it does not lose its quality, etc. So we've been doing that for the fishers. We've been repairing all the fisheries facilities, and if you go to Denway now, you'll see Denway with lights and upgrade of drainage and fencing and everything. We've done the same for Savants Bay, and right now as we speak, there is a sum of $900,000 that is earmarked to upgrade the Viewfort facility. We still have $1 million that was approved in this budget to do work in Groseley, to do work on the Parliament Jetty, in Canaries Ancillary Library. So we are really doing a lot for the fishers, because they are important. They play an important role. Food and nutrition security. And just think of a fisherman leaving his home 4 o'clock in the morning. He goes out there, spends an entire day, and comes out with zero. He has to go back again, and it can happen. So we have to understand that they are important. But what I want to see happen is more support for fishers, more training for fishers. And every time I meet the Japanese ambassador and other persons, I make that request for us to upgrade the boats. I want to see our fishermen be a lot more engaged by going out there on a Monday and coming back on a Wednesday or Thursday loaded with fish, rather than going out, spend 5-6 hours on every day and so on. They need to start thinking big. It's like those fishers in Trinidad and so on. They go out there, spend 3 nights or 3 days at sea, and come in, so you can rest for the next 2 days. Go back on the weekend.
But you said, I heard you gave them the FADs. You gave
free. All of that free. We have 300 vessel monitoring devices. It's actually an equipment that you place on the boat, and wherever that boat is, if they find themselves in any difficulty,
they can be located.
Only 125, I think, have been used, because the fishers seem to be afraid. And you know why?
Yes.
You know
I will not say.
You know why? Something that is very important for the safety.
Yes.
But it's free of. It's given to them free of charge, and it is an arrangement we have with DG Sail. So if the fisher, encounter difficulty, fisher can call the ministry call, and we can locate that vessel.
Within quickly, so they can be rescued.
Yeah, only 120 something fishers have agreed.
But you also give them rebates on fuel?
Oh yeah, man. I mean,
we have to say that because
it was $150,
right?
And 2 years ago, I think, we added another $1, so it's $2.50 rebate to the fishers, and that
$2 what?
$2.50.
A rebate?
Yeah, per gallon.
Per gallon?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that is quite a lot. And I really want to see, something meaningful be done with those funds.
Yeah.
I had a meeting with my fishers very early when I came in. Yeah. And my question to them was, why is it so difficult for you, considering the risk that you take out there? Why is it so difficult to you to make a contribution towards your pension by making a contribution to the NIC, let's say $100 every month? Because when you go on the port, you see them giving this person a fish, this person a fish. I said to them, but just one fish every month, take it, sell it, and pay on
Yes. And I see.
So at the end of the day, 65 years and so on, you leave, you can.
And that's important, eh?
And I've tried, and I'm going to make another big effort to see how we can really get it up. But it must start from the local fisheries cooperatives, where they can start something with them and engage them. So, for example, that fisher know on the 28th of each month, I have to pay $100 to the local cooperative. So at the end of the month, if they take that money and go and actually take that and pay for everybody, just imagine how that would, benefit those people, when they retire, they get injured at sea or something and they can't go to sea
can't
anymore.
work. Yes. Andrea,
Same thing for the farmers.
I think, we will take some calls. Andrea, I think you need to just give out the numbers.
Sure, no problem.
Because this is a station this is a program where we take calls. We face the public.
Yeah. But just quickly before we take the first call, Mr. Minister, can you just explain to us exactly what climate change is? And I notice you have a passion for this particular issue.
Yes.
So maybe you can explain, because a lot of people do not understand exactly what it is. So in simple terms, as best as you can, please explain if you can.
So I want to do it in a layman terms, right? It's a change, just for everybody to understand, it's a change that takes place with regards to the climate. Think of it like that. The climate has changed. So it's really a natural phenomena. It's a natural phenomena that has taken, that has impacted our natural environment.
So what about
Yeah?
it? What is it that has changed about it?
Okay, so the weather patterns have changed. So areas where you had a well-known annual prolonged dry spell, that has changed to maybe rainfall. And that's just for the layman to understand. In our rainy season, when we expect rain from June to November.
No drought.
Rainy season. June to November, that's the rainy season. You may have very long and extended drought periods. For example, 2 years ago, August was the hottest month in St. Lucia ever. It's because of all that climate change. You have more forest fires because you have what you call global warming. If rising temperatures, all of the sargassum that we see there now.
All as part of climate change?
All of that is part of climate change, because the glaciers are melting. I pronounce it well?
Yes, you did.
Are melting, and as a result of increasing temperatures, rising temperatures, the conditions on the seabed is changing because the waters are getting warmer. And so that is what is causing all of this change in weather patterns in areas where you would have, say, rainfall, a certain percentage of rainfall that has gotten less, and as a result, you see more forest fires. Species that would survive during a particular time, you would see it very visible. That has changed because the patterns are changing, the times of the year when they were supposed to be getting certain fruits and so on. Those situations are changing. So it's really a change, a massive change that is taking place in our natural environment that is having serious impacts on societies, on human, on agriculture, on infrastructure, on water, on soils.
So does that change also include the times? For example, we have the hurricane season.
Yes.
Remember last year we had an early storm, Beryl.
Right.
So is that part of the change as well?
All of that.
Because normally the season heats up about between August and September. All right?
That's right.
But now we have the hurricanes in June kind of thing.
And I want to tell you, never before.
So that's part of it, right?
That's part of it. Never before. We had so much rain in the middle of May.
Yeah.
Never before. So these are unexpected changes that takes place in the environment that we have to guard against. And that's why it is important for us to build resilience in the sectors, water sector, agricultural sector, tourism sector, because we just don't know when something surprising, strange will happen with regards to the environment.
Okay, let me give the numbers. The fixed line is 572-9710, 572-9710, or the WhatsApp platform It is 287-0971. WhatsApp is 287-0971. We have somebody in the WhatsApp platform. Mr. Minister, you can use your headphone. Yes.
All right.
This is Meet the Minister with Terence Fenelon. Our special guest today, Agriculture Minister Alfred Prosper.
All right. Good morning, caller. Let's hear your question. 4 minutes your question, please. No long speeches.
Good morning, Mr. Terence Fenelon.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, and Alfred Prosper.
Good morning. Good morning.
I'm calling in connection with this. You also have this fertilizer from Morocco, the brown fertilizer, which is very, very good for a number of crops, including pineapple plants. It's a long time I have not seen those plants, so I would like to ask Mr. Prosper, how soon are we going to get those Moroccan fertilizer? And number two, that I feel that I have something contribution to make, right, in the growing, planting, and harvesting of pineapples on an all-year-round basis, and I feel I've been sidelined, right? I have got a lot of ideas, even how to deal with pineapples in the dry off-season, because that is the only.
Oh, he got cut off there, Andre. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I think
He was asking about the
Yes, the
fertilizer.
fertilizer.
Thank you, caller. Thank you.
Sorry
And
about
to be just to inform you, we are supposed to be getting the fertilizer 4,000 bags every year from Morocco. We did not get last year because last year we were expending the funds under the World Bank program, and as you would I mentioned, we procured 39,000 bags of fertilizer that was given to farmers. I have already had a discussion with the Minister of External Affairs, Albert Baptiste, and he has guaranteed me that we will get the supply of the fertilizer from Morocco sometime this year. I cannot tell you exactly when, but sometime this year we should be getting. Also, we are in discussion, and as we speak, I was supposed to have been in Venezuela attending an ALBA meeting, and Venezuela promised 40,000 bags of urea fertilizer that was supposed to have been since last year. But because of some changes in government recently, there's a delay. I'm also working very hard to ensure that we get those bags, 40,000 bags of fertilizer into St. Lucia for our farmers before year end.
Oh, the farmers are getting it good, man.
Yep.
We have another caller.
Yes, we do.
Welcome to caller. Good morning. Thanks for calling me the minister.
Good morning, Mr. Fenelon.
Good morning,
Sabach,
sir.
how you doing, man?
I'm all right.
I listened to the most of what you said concerning farming. Very, very enlightening. However, here's where you and I have a different perspective. I believe we need more of a robust agricultural reform, because you need to reform from what we have right now. It's not working, my friend. Do you have the numbers as to how much, for example, I'm just using a plantain farmer make per year? Do you have those numbers?
A plantain farmer.
On average.
No. Listen to me. I cannot tell you what a plantain farmer makes a year if I do not know of his acreage. I know an acre of plantain is about 700 trees. That I know for sure. Because I'm a farmer too, Don't forget that I'm a farmer too, eh?
Yeah, I know you're a farmer, but
give the minister a chance. Please.
Yeah.
Allow the minister to answer.
I cannot tell you on average what a farmer makes per year, because this farmer may have an acre of plantain. This farmer may have, half an acre. And a farmer may have 100 trees,
yes.
But I know if a farmer has 700 plants per acre, and he can sell his plantain, get a good price for his plantain at the market, he can make pretty close to maybe $5,000-$6,000 average per acre.
Okay, so here's, I don't think you really get what I'm saying. So the point I'm trying to bring forward is, if you do not have those statistics, what are you putting money into? How are you going to revamp the situation? The point I'm trying to bring across, Stabach, is there should be, if we as a nation want to be serious about agriculture, those are supposed to be numbers that are readily available. Reason why I'm saying that, in order to pump resources into something, you ought to know these numbers. If it makes sense, how many farmers that are involved in farming, how much money they make every month or on a quarterly or on a yearly basis. These are important, because I hear you mention monies are being put into the sector. How much money? Why are they being put there? What are we getting out of it? Because we're still importing so much. And this is based on your account. All what I'm saying there is based on what you said. If we need to be serious about farming, you see, you mentioned something that caught my attention. I was in high school at the time. And you mentioned that something about insurance and the farmers may have to contribute something. It's very important, and I'm for things like that. But let's go back a little bit, and with at the time of green gold. But shouldn't we have started this very thing with the banana industry, where we could have farmers contributing to their pensions and stuff like that? I think if we want to be serious about revamping, my brother, we need to do a full reform of this sector. We cannot keep putting money into places where we don't see where it's coming out of. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, caller. Thank you.
I want to tell you that we have information on what one can generate in terms of income per acre for a number of our crops, for bananas, for plantain, and for a range of crops, dashing, etc. But I can't give you that offhand, but I'm sure the ministry has that. Now, I don't know how you think I can know as minister how much all farmers make, because farmers do not go out there and publicize, the amount of money they make when they sell the dashing and so on. I wish it was possible. But what I want to tell you is that, considering the importance of the agricultural sector and just focusing quite a bit on the issue of climate change and how it can impact the sector, we have to provide the support to the farmers. Cost of inputs are increasing rapidly, and farmers are challenged with regards to lack of labor, climate change, unavailability of markets, and so on, gluts in the market sometimes. We understand that, but one natural disaster can wipe off the entire agricultural sector, and at the end of the day, the onus will be on the government to get people to eat. We have to provide food for the people, and if we want to reduce on our food import bill, we have to provide the financial support and otherwise that the farmers need, because without that they will not survive, and without that we will not have a nation called St. Lucia.
All right.
Unfortunately, we can only take one more call.
One more call. That's okay. Andre has put his foot down, as I told. Okay, Andre. Yes. Let's have the call. Good morning, caller. Welcome.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Mr. Fenelon.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Andre, and good morning, Mr. Minister.
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
Mr. Minister, I like a lot of the programs that you said that you intend to put forward in terms of the youth and the increase of technology as far as agriculture to attract the young people. However, you did not mention much about the banana industry. And correct me if I am wrong, but I have the impression that we have stopped exporting bananas to the UK.
Yes.
Totally. And that happened on your watch.
That's not true.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me finish, and you'll correct me.
Yeah.
And I want to know if it's not true or not, whether you have any intention, does the government have any intention to revamp that industry and to start re-exporting bananas to the UK? Because that was a very, very important market in that industry. I will listen off it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, very good question. I want to tell you that when I came in 2021, on my desk there was a letter coming from one of the banana buyers in England saying that they've stopped buying bananas and they would like to resume. And immediately I went to England with a team to engage the banana buyer. I can't remember what the name was. And you should, if you were there, you'd probably wonder why we're not selling bananas to England anymore. It is one thing for government to put measures in place to make that happen, but the other thing, our farmers have a responsibility as well to ensure that they produce the right quality fruits. The bananas would take weeks to get to to England, and from there it has to take 5 days or so to the ripening facility before it can get there. But I just wanted to tell you that we had discussions with the buyers, and we came back. We gave support to the NFTO in the, I think it was a sum of $3.8 million to assist farmers to prepare for recommencement of exports to the UK. And in May of 2022 or 2023, I think it's 2022, we resume exports of bananas to the UK. But do you know that prior to this government coming in power, we had what we call Rainfresh that was responsible for export of our bananas to the UK. Rainfresh collapsed in 2019. We had a boat called Geese Line that was supposed to be transporting our bananas from here to the UK in 2 weeks. That was sold. The ripening facility we had in the UK to receive our St. Lucia bananas was sold. That was in 2019. So we had to make new arrangements. The buyer came down, we looked at the quality, and we said they were ready. But it would take, from that point, 2022, 4 weeks for the boat to get into the UK from St. Lucia, because it was sold, we had no control over it. So the boat would get here, collect bananas from St. Lucia, and go to Jamaica, and went through a number of other countries that would make it a longer period before it gets it. It would take 4 weeks for the bananas to get to the UK, and 5 days to get through the ripening facility before it can go to the supermarket shelves. Obviously, if your quality is not up to standard, you would not get a good quality fruit when it gets up there. So that is why we started, and after 3 months, we had to discontinue, because during that time there was this COVID issue, and there were issues with shipping and all of that made the cost very, very high, and as a result, the company could not make a profit, and that's why we stopped. But I am working very hard to see that we can meet the demand in the region. The region can absorb all of our bananas, but there are certain things that must be done in terms of improving the quality and ensuring that we have a consistent supply. You know the challenges that our banana farmers face with regards to climate change, and you know, when you have a contract, say for bananas to get to Barbados, 2,000 boxes a week, and then you have a natural disaster, they will obviously go to other countries where they can get it. And at the end of the day, when they have to get back to St. Lucia, they may have to wait a longer time. It may not be less than the quota that they've established and signed a contract for. So there are a lot of issues. But I just want to say that I believe we should continue marketing our bananas in the region, because I believe Trinidad and a lot of these countries like St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua, Barbados can absorb all of our bananas grown in St. Lucia.
Yes, Mr. Minister, there are other areas we have not spoken about, the bees, etc., the honey.
Well, one hour is not enough for me. I would love to come back another time.
And then we need to touch on your constituency.
Yes, so anytime you all want me again, just invite me, and I will.
It was a pleasure.
Yes.
I know agriculture sometimes is not too much of a sexy subject, but it's an important subject.
I love it.
We have to feed ourselves, and we have to understand that,
yes.
A nation which cannot feed itself is going nowhere. And we have to take lessons from Burkina Faso, from Ghana, etc.,
right.
and do what we have to do. So it was really a pleasure, Andre. Andre's kicking us out. He put his foot down today. First time he has done me that,
Okay. Maybe he doesn't like agriculture.
No.
Just joking.
Just joking, Andre. But it's been a pleasure to be here with you, listeners, viewers. Andre Paul, it's very nice. Thank you for accommodating us. You're a co-host today. Does that mean that you're living amid the opposition? I mean, I don't know my program, but you're there,
In my dreams.
All right, but it was fun. So we shall see next week, God willing. Enjoy I understand Monday's a holiday.
That's right.
I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, Whit
But
Monday.
enjoy Whit Monday. Enjoy the holiday. Get some exercise. Go to the beach. Relax. Enjoy yourselves. Keep safe. Put down the guns. We don't want any violence on the road. Be careful on the roads. Drivers. Exercise due care and caution. Drive if you know care. And we shall see you next week Friday, God willing. So adios. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you, Terry, and thank you, Mr. Minister for Agriculture. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andre. It's a pleasure.
You've been listening to and viewing Meet the Opposition, and today's special guest was Agriculture Minister Alfred Prosper. So as Terry said, listen again next week, Friday, same time, from 10 o'clock until 11 for another Meet the Minister. Well, this is the end of my stint here on Rev-Up St. Lucia for today. Thanks a lot for being with me. We have Kina coming on next. She'll be with you until 3 this afternoon. 3 o'clock is going to be Zen the DJ. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Andre Paul saying so long.